Hey guys, it's Core Ross and welcome to 6 News. So today we have the patch notes for Operation Neon Dawn, and also we've got the test server patch notes as well, which include some other stuff like the Tachanka voice actor being replaced, probably because of COVID, but we'll go into that when we actually get to it. Well, let's go through these patch notes first. So of course we have our new operator coming in, Aruni. She's going to have the P10 running, the MK14 EBR, so the DMR, the first DMR on defense. Now, I don't actually think this is the biggest deal because we already have slug firing shotguns, which are very similar to DMRs in some capacities. But this thing is deadly, and especially on defense with the 1.5x scope, which a lot of people were worried that she might actually get the higher optic. But I think this gun is more deadly with the 1.5 than it is with like a 3x. So curious to see how this is actually going to play out on defense. Then a very boring pistol. Of course, she doesn't have a shotgun because she has her arm, which is able to actually punch through walls. Then it says proximity alarm and barbed wire. This is most likely going to actually change, and we'll probably keep one and switch out something for something else, because in the build I played, she had a bulletproof camera, so we'll see what she has by the end of the test server. Now, she's a 2 armor, 2 speed, and of course she has these laser gates, which I actually think are not very good. Like, they're hard to use well, and I think actually for gadget wise, she's quite underpowered, but she has a great kit to make up for it. And that arm is actually going to be sensational as well. Then we've got the rework here. So this is our rework to Skycrabber, which will be going into ranked, and it'll be pulling out Outback. If you didn't like playing Outback, it's now going to be gone. And it looks actually very similar. I was amazed. I was kind of, with this one, I was expecting a different aesthetic change because Chalet, it's the same aesthetics as the previous before it was reworked. This one is the same, it's coming in and it's got the same aesthetics. I thought they might go for something more interesting, maybe cyberpunk it up or something, but they've gone with exactly the same aesthetics. So it very much feels like the same map, and it's very familiar when you're playing it. Then moving down, we've got the major kind of balancing changes. So Jaeger is getting a cooldown. Now, I've actually seen a lot of people say that this is going to be a good thing, that his active defense system is going to have a 10-second cooldown after it grabs one thing. So it takes out like a grenade. It'll then have to count down from 10 seconds before it can interact with another one. But his ADS will destroy infinite number of gadgets. Now, some people have said that's actually a buff, but 10 seconds in Siege is a long freaking time. So yeah, I do think this is a major nerf, but I do see tactics getting changed here. Like, I expect people will clump up the ADSs into one place, but the problem is if you do that and the attackers don't come that way, kind of useless. So curious to see how this is actually going to play out. Then we've got Habana, who can now configure her shots to either fire 6, 4 or 2 pellets when it comes to her gadget. It's going to make her seriously versatile and potentially going to be changing her playstyle significantly. We'll see how it plays out because she can basically go off and like destroy like 4 hatches or something like that. And of course, if she wants, she can even go down to 2 pellets to destroy soft hatches. So she's going to have a lot of utility, and yeah, can't wait to see that actually play out. Then Echo getting a massive nerf where his drones are now visible and they no longer go invisible. This means you're going to have to think much more about placement, and maybe even to the point of actually playing them on the ground. You might hide them under furniture instead of actually putting them on the ceiling where they're much more visible. So yeah, this is a massive change to Echo, and I'm curious to see how this plan play out because I've got no idea how this is going to play out for him, but seriously, big change. Then we've got detection gauge coming in for ground outside. So first of all, the detection time has gone from 2 seconds to 1 second. And that is to try and fix some of the frustration people have of dying right at the start of the game. And this is an issue because if you die at the start of a round, you are dead for the rest of it. It's very, very annoying. It would be nice to die 30 seconds into the round or even 1 minute into the round. So I can imagine why people get really annoyed by these runouts. And will this actually do anything? That's what I'm curious about, because I don't know if this is going to make much of a difference, but be interesting to see. Then we've got a few diffuser changes. So there's going to be a no drop zone just outside the actual bomb site. Now, in the preview build we had, I didn't seem to see that, at least not on Skycrabber, so I couldn't really test it out. But apparently you're not going to be able to drop it if you're just outside, just to make it less annoying if you're trying to just put it inside and you end up dropping it on the floor and you got to back up, you got to go over it again. But yeah, we'll see how that plays out as well. And of course, I think it was the last update, you can also pick it up from range as well, which is handy. Moving on from that, we've got Gadget Interactions. So this is really good, but it's a tiny little thing, but it is definitely going to be a nice thing. And that is that when you fire, say, an Ash charge at a bulletproof camera or a Maestro camera, it will actually dig into that gadget and explode. Normally it would bounce off. Now it's actually going to dig in and blow up, which is very, very useful. It's the same for Kali's lance as well. When you fire that into gadgets, sometimes it would annoyingly kind of bounce off and then not destroy it. It'll now dig into it. So that is going to be a wonderful change, but it's a tiny change, but a good change. Going on from that, we've got this. You can see the chat has been massively improved. You can scroll up and down. As far as we could tell, you could actually go all the way back to the very start of when you booted the game up and the chat would still be there. But also there's chat accessibility, which means the chat will actually talk to you if you switch it on. And not only that, you can actually switch it so that when your team members are talking, it will actually turn their voices into text. So if you're hard of hearing or if you have any issues with communication like that, you can literally, and I'm guessing maybe they'll add different languages in the future where you can actually automatically convert, you know, so you can get your callouts in different languages if your team isn't from the same area as you. Who knows? But for right now, it's a great accessibility and it is going to massively change things up. Of course, for all of us content creators who are actually testing out on the preview build, doesn't make any sense to us because of course we don't have those issues, but this could be massive for accessibility. So we'll see how that plays out as well as it goes on. Then we have this. So this bundle here for Ducky Boy is actually going to be a charity thing and it's going to be a limited time thing. They're going to do this every season where they drop a bundle which is going to be just for charity. And I don't remember exactly, I think it was 100% of income goes to the charity, but don't quote me on that, and it doesn't say here, so I'm not entirely sure, but I know that a lot of it, or like I say, maybe 100% is actually going to go to charity, which is very good. We've got operator price drops as usual. Every season we get operators going down in price, so this is lovely. These guys are getting cheaper, and yeah, hopefully you guys can pick them up if you don't already have them. Then we have this, the new seasonal skin. So I didn't see this in the preview build. I did see the seasonal uniforms, which are going to be purchasable for everybody, which I do like more than last season's. But this skin looks good. We'll see what it looks like in game. Usually in this picture here, in their patch notes, usually always looks totally different from in-game. And then going on down from that, we've got operator balancing. So yeah, Habana's got our little kind of mini rework. We got the Jaeger with the ADS cooldown. We've got the yokai drones no longer going invisible, although he is getting a deployable shield back. We've got Ash, who's getting 3 breaching rounds now instead of 2, but they're going to do less damage to players, and they're also going to be taking away her stuns and giving her claymores. So interesting changes. And Twitch has gained stun grenades and is losing breaching charges. Wamai is going from 5 magnets to 4, and also the magnet explosion has been removed when the device auto destroys. So that just means, I think it was literally at the 10 damage. So apparently that's been taken off. And he's getting impact grenades, replacing his deployable shield. Ducky B's going back to old school here, going back to actual frag grenades instead of our stuns, which he used to have back in the day. And Valkyrie is getting impact grenades, losing deployable shield. Then we've got some tweaks down here. There is actually some important stuff. So we got the outside detection thing we went over already. We've got some player comfort stuff. So apparently some stuff about reconnection. We've got the faster deployment for reinforcements, which is very nice. I did a video on that. Then we got the diffuser upgrade. So we already had about the no drop zone 1. Players are no longer able to plant diffuser outside of bomb sites. Now, I believe a big chunk of that might actually be is when you plant a diffuser now in the new season, it's going to plant right at your feet. Like, it is not going to be planting in front of you, it is like right underneath you. The animation, I think, it actually looks a bit weird from the third person. We've got gadget deployment is now blocked if a player tries to deploy over an existing gadget. Gonna have to test that and see exactly what that's all about. And projectiles can now get stuck in bulletproof gadgets. So like I said, Ash charges and Maestro turrets and stuff like that. This is really exciting for me anyway, is 3D weapon skins. If you remember, Finka's skin in the last battle pass actually changed the cosmetic 3D model of the gun. And it seems like these are going to be coming into the game much more regularly now, because of course that was the very first one. So I assume we're getting way more of them. And then we have a bullet point here that just seems to be pointing out what cosmetics are all about. And that's it. And we've got some bug fixes. So let's actually go take a look at the test server patch notes. So first of all, this patch is going to be huge, 60 gigabytes. And in total, when the game is installed, it is going to be 68 gigabytes. So they're basically just consolidating everything down again. They've done this in the previous past where we did, after that, get small patches, which was really nice. Looks like we're doing it again, and then we have to start with a big patch. And then future seasons will be small, but this is 60 gig for the new season. That's a pain in the butt to download for a lot of people. They're removing explosion haze from all maps, and we got the Tachanka. So I covered this. Tachanka's lost the withstand ability, which he only had in test server, so it has never been live. But of course, the Tachanka rework, I hope, is coming with this season. I suspect it is. And then due to unavoidable constraints, voice lines have been recorded with a new voice actor for Tachanka. So Tachanka is dead, basically. Like, he's got a new voice actor. So yeah, big thanks to the guy that previously played him, because he did an amazing job. And sad to see him go. I'm assuming this here is probably COVID, right? Probably is. But yeah, that sucks. We've got an update here on match replay. Now, no proper indication yet if this is actually coming with a new season. It might just be that it's on the test server for further testing. We will have to wait and see. But yeah, I hope match replay does come out. And yeah, it's possible that at least we're going to see it in the test server. So we'll see if they've kind of made any improvements, which they have talked about here. But we'll see. And then we got a whole bunch of bug fixes and issues that were currently going on. I think there is a bunch of stuff that they've not mentioned in some of these patch notes, which is some of the kit changes and stuff like that that's going on. And that takes us to the third patch notes for today, which is the designer notes for Year 5, Season 4. So they make a big bit here about the utility method that they're trying to change. They've got the, and I'm going to just try and buzz through this. Of course, there'll be links to this stuff in the comments below, in the description below, if you want to go check it out. They also mention catchers. So they want to change how many stuff gets caught from the catcher operators, which is Jaeger and Wamai. Currently, they're the only ones. I suspect we're probably getting another one next year, just from the way they're talking about these two here. But there's some major changes. So, of course, we got the Jaeger nerf, we got the magnet nerf, but we also have another one, which is that the catchers are going to not work together now. So if a magnet pulls in a projectile, the Jaeger will actually take out that projectile. The magnet will still self-destruct. It won't do the damage anymore, but it still take itself out. So now 2 of your utility just got wiped out because that magnet is dead and the Jaeger is now in 10-second cooldown. So there's going to be a lot of changing how you place your magnets and your Jaegers, the strategies with them. It's going to have to dramatically change because they have come in and just completely changed how they're going to do it now. And I'll be covering that in my videos for like Mythbusters and stuff on how that's going to work. Oh yeah, and I should mention that they do kind of consider Aruni to be one of these catchers, even though it's the attackers who are actually throwing stuff into her gadget, but I guess, you know, she is using up that utility. Then they talk about here the actual changes we're going to be seeing with the kind of tweaks to the catchers actually impacting bulletproof gadgets. So Maestro cameras, bulletproof cameras. So that could again dramatically change how you play a Maestro if you don't have the same protection you used to have with Jaeger and Wamai because of the changes previously talked about. And that'll probably have quite a big impact. It will probably take a little while to see it, but I think it will have an impact. They also want to reduce the dependency on Ashe and Zofia. I don't know if they're going to succeed here because they've given Ashe an extra breaching round, which is very useful. Even if they are just replacing that with a claymore for her flashes, she's still really useful. And with a new girl, these two are still going to be really useful to counter those laser barriers. So I am curious if they're going to be successful or if they're going to fail here. Then of course we've got the Habana change that we've been over, the Jaeger change, the Echo change, and like I say, there'll be links to go read all this because it does give a rundown of their thinking of why they're doing it if you're upset with what they're doing. And then we've got the loadout changes, but there's one in here that I don't think was in the full patch notes, and that is 0. So he's losing his frag grenades and gaining a hard breach, which is interesting for him because he can take out counter hard breach gadgets and then hard breach himself, but also losing the frag grenades is a big impact on him as well. So I think that's pretty much everything we know so far that's being covered. There's a lot. Like, this season actually feels almost bigger than last season, even though last season had a major change with like sights and all that. This really feels like there's a lot to digest, and there's going to be a lot of changes, big time, for pretty much all the operators. Anyway guys, let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys next time.